So how y'all doing? This is P. Holler. I want to address a couple issues today and concerns. One is definitely the police reform that's needed now. I also want to address, and I have to give a shout out because it's somebody else that I look at. If anybody care to see the video, I will be posting the video shortly. However, Mr. Roland S. Martin, a phenomenal guy, an activist for our community, he recently just had Mr. J. Philip Clay on from Indiana. He's a conservative, and this is not a shot at any conservatives because I have nothing personally against conservatives, Republicans, the Democrats, nothing personal, especially against the voters. If that's your party, that's your party. However, I will say that this parading of black conservatives, particularly like Mr. Philip Clay, J. Philip Clay, he does not actually help the movement that the conservatives have. His take on black crime as it pertains to Mr. Nichols being brutally murdered by the 5 officers in Memphis has nothing to do with black on black crime. This so-called gang beating that Mr. Nichols received, rest in peace to Mr. Nichols, they don't discuss the Boys in Blue gang. And I hope this don't get me censored because I have had a tremendous problem with my algorithm. However, it was a gang. And the Boys in Blue has always been a gang. I think I stated that before in one of my earlier videos. And they will continue to be a gang. But, Mr. Clay, the same way you hung up and left the show when things started heating up on you, I hope this video catch you. I hope someone shares it to you. Because as a person from a privatized black community, okay, grew up in a privatized black community, it's more issues as it pertains to black on black crime. People tend to commit crimes where they're from. And I think that the separation between black on black crime and all crime in general, if we was to separate all the different racist crimes, just as the Asians over in California recently committed crimes, act of major assault against their own kind, things like that don't really make the mainstream. It's always smoke screen for them. But when it's a black on black issue, it's polarized. I think you really need to get out into those communities in Indiana, Indianapolis, where you're from, and definitely stop worrying about other cities like Chicago's crime and everything else that you stated in your articles, because there's crime right there where you're from. And if you're not helping both sides to mediate where you're from, then you have no right to speak on anybody else's city. Chicago has its issues, just like Philadelphia, where I'm from, New York, Jersey, the Carolinas, California. It doesn't matter where you go. It's pretty much a crime rate. Might not be the highest in the country, but it's definitely a crime rate. Anytime it becomes an issue for the urban communities, instead of trying to challenge Mr. Al Sharpton and other activists like himself, how about having a sit down with them? How about giving Mr. Sharpton a call and see if it's something you can help him do to mediate and help solve this crime issue before you just go out landish bashing people like himself? I would really love to hear you speak to Mr. Louis Farrakhan. He might certainly change your mind and your perspective because you seem to have serious issues. Now, furthermore, I'm going to leave that alone for a little while because I kind of piggybacked off of Mr. Martin. But I was absolutely astonished at how he handled that situation with his panel, as well as just completely destroying, as his title says in there, destroying Mr. Clay to the point he had to hang up. So I just wanted to point that out. But getting into the policing, we definitely need to really reconsider, and I hope that I can build a strong enough support to having these police officers, before they become police officers, have a university or a tech school, some type of program that they can be evaluated on a monthly basis, maybe a weekly basis, psychologically, as well as physically, okay? And actually prepare them for the job of protecting and serving the people who pays their checks. Because it's really been out of control, and now it's more polarizing when you have police officers turning off their body cams, messing with the dash cams, snatching antennas off in certain places for the dash cams. It's almost like they're getting smart to outsmart so they can continue to do what they've been doing. Now, if we have a strong support of the officers that are good, that actually cares about the communities they serve and cares about the oaths they've taken, then maybe we could kind of bridge the gap a little bit. But the mere fact that you have so many good officers that's petrified, terrified, just completely afraid, scared to speak up or step in, they stand aside and look at these acts be committed against different ones. And when they have the knowledge of crimes being committed by their fellows in blue, they refuse to speak up. They refuse to give real testimony. And that's a shame, because you're not upholding the law. You're not protecting and serving, unless you're talking about protecting your own in the same uniform. Now, when it comes to the schooling, I am definitely pushing forward to Capitol Hill with this issue. And I know there are good people in every state, every city, every county, for the most part. And we need to filter through, because what's coming is a whole new policing system, which they're not even aware of. But I will be addressing that in my next video. So I hope you tune in for that. However, I'm going to cut this one a little shorter. But I'm going to leave you with this thought. If we have people of our community that are not standing up for the community, then I don't think they have the right to speak on the community. Because if you're not doing anything to help change it, then you're just as bad as the ones that's destroying it. Peace, love, and light to all. Holla.